Hi everyone, I'm Celeste. Welcome to my booktube channel. Uh, Today I wanted to kind of backtrack and talk about books that I've read in 2016. I'm starting with January and moving my way forward. And as I sit here today, I've read like 35 books. So unfortunately, since I've read some of these, months ago, I don't remember all the details. But, that's what the internet's for. You can always look it up if you want it, if you're interested in a title. Um, but first of all, before I get started in that, please excuse how sweaty and disheveled I look. I went Pokemon hunting, and I got really sweaty because Texas is hot and humid, and so that's that. So I sweated off my makeup and I sweated my hair, and so yeah. But I wanted to do this video for you guys anyway. Okay, so I'm gonna go through the first 8 books. I felt like that was enough to make a full video, and not too many, because I feel like when I watch videos and there are tons and tons of books, like I don't remember all the books, so this felt right. So the first book that I read this year and completed is Mindy Kaling's Why Not Me. I read her first book when it came out, but I read it on my Kindle, so I don't have a copy of that book. This book I got in my Pop Sugar subscription box, and so I don't know, if you guys are interested in that, leave me a comment and let me know, and I can unbox my Pop Sugar. Sometimes I get books and sometimes I don't, and then sometimes the books I get in my Pop Sugar box are not books that I necessarily want to read, but I could show you guys the books that I've gotten or whatever anyway. But I did read this. I think Mindy Kaling is great. I loved her in The Office, and so I thought she was really funny. However, this might be a book that's best on audio, because sometimes these celebrity books are better on audio than they are when you read the actual book. But it's a really pretty hardback book. It's like this nice mellow, and on the inside it has, I don't know if you can see this, little bones and things and hamburgers, and I don't know, I just think it's totally cute. I like it when a book has cool details like that. So, there you go. The next thing that I read was actually the first issue of Lumberjanes. Last year, I think it was, I made it a goal of mine to read more graphic novels and comics and things. Years ago, I used to be what you might call a book snob, and I have been on a quest to eliminate that and to rectify some of the crap I've said in the past. So, I think it's great. I love anything that Noelle Stephens puts her hands on. I enjoy her artwork. It was a little kooky, a little weird, but I like a little kooky and a little weird. So, I would recommend this. The next book I read is another graphic novel, and I stole this from my daughter. She got it at a book fair at school, and it is Awkward by Svetlana Shimakova. I hope I said that right. It is so cute. Like, the story is so well done, and the characters are so rich, and the artwork is really interesting and pretty, and just, I don't know, it's just the right amount of detail, but not so much that it's, I don't know, but it's a really great book. So it's been on my bookshelf, but eventually I'll give it back to her. Okay, the next book that I read, and I don't remember if I'm still in January or in February or not, but I'm going in order, the order that I put them on Goodreads is when I read them, is Anna and the French Kiss. I have a confession. Last October, I went to NerdCon Stories in Minneapolis, and it was great. And while I was there, I brought this copy of Anna and the French Kiss to be signed by Stephanie Perkins. And so my book is signed. It's great. I love it. It was so nice. You ready for this? I had her sign a book that I hadn't read. I felt like a total jerk for that. And so, like, what she wrote about wishing on stars, like it didn't mean anything to me because I hadn't read it yet. So I felt bad. So I made it a goal to get through her list. And so here we go. And so I had to be really careful when I read it because it's my signed copy. So I was reading it very carefully. Sometimes I'm one of those people, and I could do a 25 bookish facts where we talk about my quirkiness and how I like to read things or whatever. But I take a special care with like first editions and signed books and things like that. Not that I don't take care of other books, but I have more anxiety about like not getting little pieces bent and whatnot. I enjoyed this. Like I enjoy her writing style. It's contemporary, and I don't always reach for contemporary. I find them kind of sappy and just and especially, I know this sounds bad, but especially when it's contemporary for young adult, because I'm old and I guess I'm cynical. I don't know, but I enjoy Stephanie Perkins' writing style. So part of my my reading of her works. The next one that I have, and I know some booktubers have talked about this one. This was the book club choice for January that for the book club that I'm a member of in real life. And so it is The Dinner by Herman Koch. And it wasn't my month to choose. It was someone else's month to choose. And she said at the meeting that she chose this book because she heard about it on NPR. So, okay. Like, that's where she got the recommendation. Here's what I will say. No. I don't know why I did not like this book, but I did not like this book. Sometimes, if a book is translated, then I think something doesn't translate with authenticity. So when I can, I prefer to read books in their native language, although I'm not multilingual, so that limits me a little bit. Or I have to be very choosy about what editions I look at with what translators and whatnot, so I research them. So I don't know. Second of all, the characters, I don't have a problem with characters that I don't like. Like, sometimes books are more enjoyable when you kind of hate everybody in them. I know that sounds weird, but yeah, what I had a problem was one of the characters, and actually like a main character in this book, is like a psychopath or sociopath, whatever term you might think fits. And there was this discussion in it as far as like this medical test that could be done through amniocentesis or after you were born, I guess through your blood work, that could tell you about this mystical disease that would cause you to basically have the attributes that would describe a psychopath. And here's my problem with that. Like it's almost like it's trying to talk about autism. And that bothers me a lot, because even if he didn't mean to sort of criminalize people who have attributes that are on the spectrum, I kind of felt like it did. So there's that. And also there were a couple of sections where it was sort of anti-American, and I can take criticism, but it didn't feel like it fit. Like, the narrator was just like, the American government, blah, 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 blah. And I just, like, why are you going off on that topic? I just don't, if it fits, then it fits. But if it doesn't fit, then you're just squeezing in stuff that I feel the same way about curse words. Like, if the curse words fit, then yeah, use the curse words. Like, if you have, like, say, some gnarly, scary, character that doesn't curse, and it's a novel, that's written for, moderately older audience, then yeah, make them curse or whatever. But if they just curse just for the purpose of filling in their sentences, then I'm not okay with that. Okay, so not a fan of this. I know other people are a fan of this. I wasn't. The next one I have is another graphic novel type, and it's Hyperbole and a Half by Allie Broche. I got this for my birthday. It's one of my birthday presents, and I loved it. Part of what I loved about this is she touches on mental illness, and she does it with this honesty that is difficult, but being in a sort of a comic setup, ah, so there were parts that had me laughing out loud. Like I literally had this in a waiting room at a doctor's office, and I was like, laughing, trying not to laugh out loud and make all the other people look at me like I was crazy. But then there were other parts that made me feel like sad and like made me feel things, and so I really enjoyed that. And so yes, I was a fan. And then the next book that I read was a book that I was reading for a class I was in, and unfortunately I don't have a copy of it with me because I loaned it to a friend of mine, and I can hear some of you gasping right now. I'm okay with loaning out books. Part of the reason I'm okay with loaning out books is because a book is a thing. And so the vast majority of my library is replaceable. Now there's some that are signed copies and first editions that have sentimental value, and they have slightly greater worth, but overall, I mean, if I loan out, especially if it's like a paperback and I don't get it back, then, I mean, maybe they needed it more, or maybe it'll find its way into more readers' hands and not just sitting collecting dust on my shelf. So I try to look at it as it's not things that matter in life, that sort of philosophy. So anyway, the book that I read that I don't have a copy of because I loaned it out is called Understanding Comics, The Invisible Art. And so I was taking an aesthetics course, and we were talking about art, and so this was talking about like art in comics and really art in general. It was really well done. I've never read anything written by Scott McCloud, and so I was really impressed. And so I have a haul coming up, and in it I have another piece by Scott McCloud. So you'll have to, watch one of my hauls one day. Okay, and the last one I have is the February pick from the book club that I'm in real life. And this book is Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and this was my pick. February was my month, and so this was my pick, and I loved it because I love V.E. Schwab, and I love what she writes. Her style is great, and the topic was just so interesting, and it's like, I love books that question where do our faults lie, and what really changes us, like, those questions, because I don't know the answers, but I like, books that explore those questions. Like, that's great. So that's all the books that I brought out of my stack to show you, and I will do another setup with the next 8 or so books and talk about those, and I'll keep doing that until I get caught up, and then I can do just, other videos maybe monthly. I don't know, we'll see, because once school starts, and for me that's August 22nd, I get what I call read out, in the sense that sometimes I'm reading student essays and I don't want to read anything else. So, anyway, let me know down below if you like some of these books, or, you're interested in these books, or if you have suggestions because you see that I like a certain book and you're like, oh, then you should read this. I appreciate that. So, that's pretty much it for today. I will see you guys another time. Happy reading.